Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 11, entitled as Vishwarupa Dharshana Yoga, Sloka 35, Part 2. Sañjaya uvāca, etac chrutvā vacanaṁ keśavasya, kṛtāñjalir vepamānaḥ kirīṭī, namaskṛtvā bhūya evāha kṛṣṇaṁ, sa-gadgadaṁ bhīta-bhītaḥ praṇamya. Sañjaya said to Dhṛtarāṣṭra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Kṛṣṇa in a faltering voice as follows. Here in this sloka, it is not said what he spoke. That is going to be coming up from next sloka onwards. Here, Sañjaya is narrating to Dhṛtarāṣṭra what happened after seeing this form of Kṛṣṇa and after hearing from Kṛṣṇa the response to his question. In the previous session, we learnt about various interpretation on the name Keśava. Now, when we see the words that's used in this sloka, we don't see Arjuna's name directly being mentioned, but actually Arjuna's name has been mentioned here indirectly as kirīṭī, one who was wearing a crown. Now, this name seemed to be a common name or a generic name. It could be anyone who is present in the battlefield. Why this has to be only Arjuna? Well, we have to take the entire sloka into consideration than just picking up a term from a sloka. So here, a conversation is happening between Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna. Therefore, there is no question of others into this. It has to be either Kṛṣṇa or Arjuna. Between them, it is Arjuna, not Kṛṣṇa. The reason is because it is said clearly in the sloka that one who was wearing a crown bowed his head down and was much terrified, prostrating again, joining his hands together, palms together. So this is done by Arjuna. Kṛṣṇa is not going to do this one. Therefore, this name kirīṭī only applies to Arjuna in this context. Now, the next question is, why is being called as kirīṭī? What is the reason behind it? The purpose and use of wearing this crown is said to be fulfilled only after he paid his obeisances to Kṛṣṇa. Otherwise, what is the use of just wearing a celestial crown and any other ornaments? So, to bring out that point that he is wearing a crown is to indicate that it is really worth wearing that crown now because he bowed down to Kṛṣṇa's lotus feet. If not, what is the great thing about wearing a crown? What is the great thing about mentioning Arjuna as kirīṭī unless and until that which he possesses is being used in service of Kṛṣṇa? As it is stated by Sukadeva Goswami in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhāraha param patta kirīṭa justam apyutmāngam nanamen mukundam. Though one's head is decorated with a very expensive and attractive crown on one's head, unless he bows down to the lotus feet of Mukunda, one who is the giver of liberation, then carrying that expensive crown is just a burden on one's head. At this point, it is nice to compare the 32nd sloka where we saw Savyasachin. Over there, we learnt one of the interpretation where it said that the skills that one possesses, one has, must be used in the service of Krishna. Else, those skills are of no use otherwise. Arjuna was able to shoot arrows using his left hand. That skill was blessed by Krishna to Arjuna. Therefore, that was a reminder to Arjuna to use that skill in Krishna's service. Similarly, here kirīṭī is being mentioned to say that Arjuna is wearing an expensive crown, attractive crown. The use of wearing such an ornament is to bow down at the lotus feet of Krishna. Because able to wear this kirīṭa is also a blessing that came from Krishna. So, in the 32nd sloka, it is said about the skills one has should be used in service of Krishna. Over here, it is said that anything that we possess as material things must also be used in service of Krishna, understanding those are all given to us by Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami elaborates on this particular topic, asking us number of questions. What is the use of your eyes if it is not for seeing the beautiful form of the Lord? It is just like the eyes on the plumes of peacock. What is the use of hands, though decorated with glittering bangles, if it is not used in the service of Sri Hari? Those hands are of a dead man, which is of no use. What is the use of legs if it is not moving towards the holy places, to the temples? It is just like a tree trunk. What is the use of your tongue if it is not chanting the name of Krishna? It is just like the tongue of a frog which croaks to invite the death in the form of a frog. What is the use of your ears if it is not used for hearing the pastimes of the Lord? It is just like the snake holes. So the point is made clear here that everything that we have within us and everything that we have with us is meant to be used in service of Krishna. Otherwise, the only default option is to use it in service of Maya. The difference is, using them in service of Krishna releases from this world. Using in service of Maya further entangles us into this world. Therefore, we have to make right choice. Next, what did Arjuna do after bowing down is said? He joined his palms together. That particular act of bringing two palms together where the fingers are pointing upwards is called Anjali. The meaning of Anjali is jalayatiti Anjali. That is the action, the act that makes the Lord's heart melt with compassion, daya, for his devotees. That action is called Anjali, which is nothing but just folding of hands in display of reverence to the Lord's lotus feet is called Anjali. Plus jalayati, that which makes the Lord's heart melt into a watery state. The joy of the Lord in response to this Anjali Mudra by his devotee is beyond any description. He is overjoyed at seeing the devotees with folded palms. So, when we are in front of the deities, our hands should be paying obeisance to the lotus feet of the Lord. Our hand should not be tied to the back, nor the hand should be crisscrossed near our chest, nor our hand should be in our pockets, and for sure not fidgeting with our cell phones or any of such things. The best thing in front of deities, we should be with our folded hands. When we do that, the Lord becomes so very joyful, and his joy has no limits when he sees his devotees in front with folded palms. The second interpretation of the word Anjali is linked to the gesture of a surrendered soul. By this Anjali Mudra, a devotee, a surrendered soul, is expressing a state of not doing anything to protect himself. Kartrutva, I am not the doer. That is another interpretation of Anjali Mudra, meaning I can't save myself, my Lord. I am fully depending on you and you alone, no one else. I have no other shelter to go, and I have no capacity to save myself. I fully surrender unto you. You are my shelter. You are my only shelter. You are my protector. You are my only protector. This is the second interpretation of Anjali. And this is the mood that one should cultivate when they stand in front of the deity with folded hands. So we have seen two interpretations or meaning. Number one, the act that melts the heart of the Lord into a watery state is compassion outburst just when he sees his devotees with folded hands. Jalayatiti Anjali. The second interpretation is it is the gesture informing the Lord that he has given himself completely to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. In Dhṛtarāṣṭra, a work by Swami Alavandar, who is well known as Yamunacharya, Guru of Sripad Ramanujacharya, he speaks about Anjali Mudra. Twadangrim udishya kathapi kenachit yata tata vapi sakrit kṛtāñjalir tataiva mushnati asubhani asheshatah subhani pushnati najatu hiyate. Meaning, he who has folded his hands towards your pair of lotus feet, whosoever he may be, and whatever be the time, and whatever condition or form he may be, that very instant the act of folding hands dispels at once all his misfortunes are vanished, and obstacles to come close to you are removed, and he becomes eternally blissful. Well, after hearing this particular sloka, one might have a doubt. I do this all the time. This is nothing new for me. I do my Anjali to the Lord. Why am not seeing my misfortunes going away? I still see a lot of obstacles. I am not being blissful. The answer resides in the previous discussion that we had. Are we doing our Anjali in that mood? If not, obviously we are not going to see that result. What matters is action with knowledge, karma with jnana. They have to go hand in hand. Just doing action without knowledge is just karma. And just having a knowledge but not doing action, it is just useless. It's like I fold my hands together in front of the deities, but my focus, my thoughts, my everything is somewhere else. Whereas on the other end, I know exactly what Anjali means, but then I would not fold my hands in front of the deities. So both are not going to help. Rather, one has to do both together. The karma and jnana, the action and the knowledge have to be together to get the full benefit. Speaking about benefit, let's see what are the benefits that one gets by the act of Anjali Mudra. This is very elaborately explained by Swami Vedanta Desikan in his Anjali Vaibhavam. He was very inspired by that one sloka, stotram, that we just saw from Dhṛtarāṣṭra, the sloka 28, that he composed this great work called Anjali Vaibhavam, all about just this Anjali Mudra. This Anjali Mudra eliminates not only all the obstacles that one encounters, but also blesses one with many more boons and blessings. Number one, Anjali paves the way for the experience of the Supreme Lord in the spiritual abode to its fullest. Number two, Anjali points to surrender as the means for the enjoyment of that spiritual bliss. Number three, Anjali facilitates the easy observance of the different limbs of surrender, prapatti. Number four, Anjali makes one fit for performing prapatti, the surrender, if he has not observed it already. Number 5. It helps the one who has surrendered or willing to surrender to continue to perform devotional service until he winds up and ready to leave this material world. In other words, Anjali removes the obstacles in the performance of devotional service. Number 6. Anjali does not rest only with giving the fruits to the one who folds his palms with bhakti to the Lord, but it blesses 7 generations of people who are associated with this person. Number 7. The fruit that one gets by performing Anjali thus lasts forever, eternally, compared to the fruits that one get by going to Swarga or through any other punya. The eternal devotional service at the spiritual abode is blessed through the power of Anjali, which means the fruit that one get is going to be eternal forever. Thus, the Anjali done in this world leads one to the extent of surrender here, and when one reaches the spiritual world, Anjali blesses him with eternal devotional service. These are the benefits of performing Anjali with bhakti. And we can learn from Ramayana, where when Vibhishana came to surrender to the Lord, Sugriva was not afraid of anything but then seeing Vibhishana's Anjali Mudra, folded hands. He knows when the Lord sees him with his folded hands, his heart will melt with compassion towards Vibhishana. And lastly, kṛṣṇaṁ, one who removes the shackle that binds his devotees into this prakriti. And he is one who removes the weeds, meaning destroys the enemies and establishes dharma for healthy kingdom. kṛṣṇaṁ. To conclude, at once when Arjuna heard the utterance of Kṛṣṇa with full of love towards those who seek refuge in him, and who is the Lord of Brahma and Rudra, Arjuna was wearing a crown, bowed his head down, and was much terrified, prostrating again, joining his palms together, trembling in awe. He spoke in a faltering voice. Starting from next sloka, sloka 36 through 46 sloka, we will learn what he spoke in his faltering voice. etac chrutvā vacanaṁ keśavasya kṛtāñjalir vepamānaḥ kirīṭī namaskṛtvā bhūya evāha kṛṣṇaṁ sa-gadgadaṁ bhīta-bhītaḥ praṇamya. Namaste. Hare Krishna.